In the news this week, churches can remain open for worship in England and Northern Ireland during the new lockdowns. The BBC is accused of ignoring guidance about reporting the suicide risk for young trans people. And Rowan Atkinson speaks out against online cancel culture. Hello. Churches in England and Northern Ireland can remain open for public worship under new lockdown measures announced by Westminster and Stormont. Arrangements allowing public worship in Wales remain unchanged for the time being. But to the disappointment of many, church buildings in Scotland have been closed. The new stay-at-home order means churches there will be closed for public worship and even private prayer for at least 4 weeks, although churches which broadcast from their building may continue to do so. The Christian Institute's Kieran Kelly said it's good to see that, with the right precautions in place, church buildings in England, Wales and Northern Ireland can stay open. It is very disappointing and difficult to understand why the same provisions have not been made for Scotland. The BBC has been slammed for an article stating that December's High Court ruling on puberty-blockers could cause young trans people to commit suicide. Spectator columnist James Kirkup said the corporation should be ashamed of its report, which ignored advice from the Samaritans on reporting on suicide. Its guidance warns against presenting suicide as an understandable response to crisis, speculating about a trigger or cause, and says young people are more susceptible to imitating suicidal behaviour and more likely to be influenced by the media. The BBC's LGBT correspondent, Ben Hunt, claimed that doctors and parents had told the BBC the ruling could cause distressed trans teens to self-harm or even take their own lives. It also quoted disgraced gender clinician Helen Webberley, who made similar assertions. Following the outcry, the BBC made small amendments to the article. A poll has found that most Scots are concerned about the Scottish Government's plans to make a DIY home abortion scheme permanent. Under emergency COVID legislation, women in Scotland can have an abortion within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy after just a phone or video consultation. But the poll for the Society for the Protection of Unborn Children revealed almost 7 in 10 Scots are concerned about unsupervised home abortions. Around 85% said they are concerned about the risk of women being coerced into an abortion, or that some women might be forced into an unwanted abortion by an abusive partner. CEO of SPUC Scotland, John Deegan, said this is a searing indictment of the Scottish Government imposing an unwanted abortion policy on an unwilling nation. And finally, Blackadder and Mr. Bean actor Rowan Atkinson has hit out at cancel culture in a fresh defence of free speech. In an interview with the Radio Times, the comedy veteran expressed concerns at how social media is shaping online debate. It becomes a case of either you're with us or against us. And if you're against us, you deserve to be cancelled. It's important that we're exposed to a wide spectrum of opinion, but what we have now is the digital equivalent of the medieval mob roaming the streets looking for someone to burn. Atkinson has a history of speaking out in defence of free speech, including in 2012 for the Reform Section 5 campaign, which was spearheaded by the Christian Institute, and more recently against the Scottish Government's highly controversial hate crime bill. Well, that's all for this week. For more information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.